Members, please come to the floor. A quorum is present. Would the members and our guests beyond the rail and in the gallery please rise? We will be led in prayer this afternoon by our chaplain, Rabbi Mona Alfie. After which, please remain standing. We will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag by Senator Ted Gaines.
This philosopher once taught, if you would live greatly, never think to make your words sincere, your actions resolute. Simply speak and do what is right. When we listen to that still, small voice within us, when we allow ourselves to follow our intuition, we more often than not find that the ability to speak and do what is right flows naturally from within. We turn to the Creator of us all and pray that justice and righteousness will be reflected in the way we live, in the words we speak, and the deeds we do. We pray that these things will be ways for us to heal and not to hurt, to comfort and not to afflict those who we are here to serve. May this be God's will. Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Privileges of the floor. I would like to announce at this time that it is our intention to work the daily file for approximately 2 hours. Messages from the governor will be deemed read. Messages from the assembly will be deemed read. Reports of committee will be deemed read and amendments adopted. Motions, resolutions, and notices. Introductions and first reading of bills. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Resolution 16 by Senator Lowenthal relative to the Day of the Teacher.
Consideration of the daily file. Second reading file. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 51 with amendments, 294 with amendments, 394 with amendments, 540 with amendments, 628 with amendments, 924 with amendments, 944 with amendments, 41 with amendments, 184 with amendments, 760 with amendments, and Senate Bill 900 with amendments.
Unfinished business. Senator Rubio, nod at his desk. Pass. Senate third reading, 33, Bill 33. SB 333. Senator Lamaffa, are you prepared? Pass. Senator Woke, SB 214. Nod at her desk. Pass. SB 596. Senator Price. Nod at his desk. Pass. SB 310. Hancock. Nod at her desk. Pass. SB 475. Wright. Nod at his desk. Pass. SB 332, Padilla, nod at his desk. Oh, there he is. I'm sorry. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 332 by Senator Padilla, enacting to smoking.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm actually prepared to take up that bill today. I would prefer to have a few more members on the floor. There has been a question as it pertains to amendments that we expect to take in the Assembly. So when more folks are here, I'll articulate that in my presentation and take the bill up then. Thank you.
Senator Padilla, well taken.
Members, please report to the Senate floor.
Members, please report to the Senate floor so we can continue. Item 39, Senator Simitian, would you like to take up your bill?
Pass.
Be pass. Item 40, Senator Steinberg. Pass. Item 41, Senator Kehoe, not at her desk. Item 42, Senator De Leon. Would you like to take up your bill? Pass. Item 43, Senator Evans, not at her desk. Pass. Senator 44, Liu. Item 44, Liu, not at his desk. Pass. Item 45, pass. Item 46, Senator Dessalines. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 536 by Senator DeSaulnier, an act relating to local government finance.
Actually, the senator wishes to pass. Item 47 is also, we're passing on item 47. Item 48. Please, Senator, please read. Please read the bill.
Senate Bill 608 by Senator DeSaulnier, an act relating to the Prison Industry Authority.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem. It's nice to see everybody wide awake here on Monday morning in the California State Senate. This bill, actually the genesis of this bill, came from a nonprofit that is using federal money and foundation money to put packets together to distribute to impoverished kids in the East Bay. It's now gone throughout Northern California. As a happy coincidence, the volunteer effort to actually put all of this U.S.-made product together in a backpack that goes to underserved, underprivileged kids in really poor school districts started actually Senator Hancock and I in Oakland and in Richmond, has now expanded, but it's been so successful that the volunteer efforts weren't able to keep up with the demand. So as a happy coincidence, I mentioned to Secretary Kate a year ago this problem. He suggested using the Prison Industry Authority to help with those efforts. We got a waiver, but I was informed that in order to continue to do it this year and expand this program around the state and into Southern California, into the Los Angeles area, that we would need to continue to do this. So this bill would just allow that to happen. It's a really good program. The Prison Industry Authority says that they're able to do this with flexible time, where a lot of the clients, a lot of the inmates are able to do this sort of very simple product putting it together in their slow times. So we've had bipartisan support. I would ask for your aye vote. We are going to try to continue to narrow the bill so it's more focused on these kind of programs rather than to open it up. And with that, I would ask for your aye vote.
Any discussion or debate? Would you like to close?
Just to ask for your support.
Secretary, please call the roll.
Alquist, aye. Anderson, aye. Berryhill, aye. Blakesley, Calderon, Canella, no. Corbett, aye. Correa, De Leon, aye. DeSaulnier, aye. Dutton, no. Emerson, no. Evans, aye. Fuller,
Yes.
aye. Gaines, aye. Hancock, Harmon, aye. Hernandez, aye. Huff, Kehoe, aye. LaMalfa, no. Leno, aye. Tedlew, Carolou, aye. Lowenthal, aye. Negrete McLeod, Padilla, Pavley, aye. Price, aye. Rubio, Runner, no. Smidian, aye. Steinberg, aye. Strickland, Vargas, Walters, no. Wolk, aye. Wright, Wyland, Yee. Padilla, aye.
Yes. Call the absentees, Secretary.
Blakesley, aye. Calderon, Correa, Hancock, aye. Huff, no. Tedlew, aye. Negrete McLeod, Rubio, Strickland, aye. Vargas, Wright, Wyland, no. Yee, aye. Okay.
What is it? Ayes 26, noes 8. Measure passes. Okay, we're going to return to item 38. Senator Padilla.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Members, as
Secretary, please read. I'm sorry.
Senate Bill 332 by Senator Padilla, enacting to smoking.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Members, as many of you know all too well, California has been and continues to be a leader in policy relative to tobacco use, discouraging its consumption generally, limiting access to minors specifically, both because of safety issues as well as public health concerns. This bill seeks to address an issue relayed to my office and many of us by owners of apartment buildings and other multi-family dwellings. While there's no outright prohibition in the law, many apartment owners and their representatives feel that it's not explicitly clear in the law that they could, if they choose to voluntarily, offer non-smoking or smoke-free units within their complexes or outright have entire smoke-free complexes. This bill provides that clarification in the law that they are pursuing. That's the simple bill before you, trying to create more smoke-free environments for California families who choose to live in those environments. I won't get back into the detail of how harmful tobacco products are, secondhand smoke is, particularly for our children. We'll certainly ask for your aye vote and make a special acknowledgement to my Republican colleagues that this bill is supported by the California Apartment Association on a statewide basis. A couple of chapters, particularly that of the Orange County Association, that I believe with some technical language that we will amend while in the Assembly, they'll remove their opposition as well. That is our understanding. We had that conversation in committee. With that, I would ask for your aye vote.
Any discussion or opposition? Debate? Seeing none, Senator, would you like to close?
Respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Secretary, please call the roll.
Alquist? Aye. Anderson? No. Berryhill? Aye. Blakesley? Calderon? Canella? Aye. Corbett? Aye. Correa? De Leon? Aye. DeSaulnier? Aye. Dutton? Aye. Emerson? Aye. Evans? Aye. Fuller?
Aye.
Aye. Gaines? Aye. Hancock? Aye.
Okay.
Harmon? Aye. Hernandez? Aye. Huff? Kehoe? Aye. LaMalfa? Aye. Leno? Aye. Ted Lieu? Carol Lieu? Aye. Lowenthal? Negrete McLeod? Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Rubio? Runner? No. Semidian? Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? Aye. Vargas? Walters? Aye. Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? Aye. Yee. Lowenthal? Aye. Huff? Aye. May I call that?
Call the absentee members, Secretary.
Blakesley? Aye. Calderon? Correa? Ted Lieu? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Rubio? Vargas? Yee. Yee, aye.
Ayes 33, noes 2. Measure passes. Now we will be turning members to item 41. Kehoe. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 614 by Senator Kehoe, enacting to child care.
Thank you, Madam President. SB 614 is an important step towards helping young people develop self-defense and safety awareness skills they need to avoid dangerous situations. It ensures that students can receive self-defense and safety awareness training before, during, or after school. The training must be gender and age appropriate in recognition that after-school programs serve grades 1 through 9. The bill is sponsored by the California National Organization for Women and is supported by the California Association for Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance, and the California After School Coalition. I ask for your aye vote.
Members, is there any discussion or debate? Seeing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Alquist? Aye. Anderson? No. Berryhill? No. Blakesley? Aye. Calderon? Canella? Aye. Corbett? Aye. Correa? De Leon? I. DeSaulnier. I. Dutton. Emerson. Evans. I. Fuller.
Aye.
I. Gaines. No. Hancock. I. Harmon. I. Hernandez. I. Huff. I. Kehoe. I. LaMalfa. Leno. I. Ted Lieu. I. Carolou. I. Lowenthal. I. Negrete McLeod. Padilla. I. Pavley. I. Price. I. Rubio. Runner. Smidian. I. Steinberg. I. Strickland. Vargas. Walters. Wolk. I. Wright. I. Wyland. I. Yee. Yee, I. Strickland, I. Emerson, I. Berryhill, no to I. Gaines, no to I. Runner, I.
Next, that goes back to where we were before we were coming through, so.
Dutton, I.
Ayes 32, noes 1, measure passes. Senator Kehoe, I understand you want to take up item 20 as well?
Yes, Madam President.
Members, please turn to item 20. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 117 by Senator Kehoe, enacting to public contracts.
Thank you very much, Madam President and members. This bill, SB 117, prohibits state agencies from entering into contracts of more than $100,000 with businesses that discriminate against legally recognized same-sex married couples. Currently, registered domestic partners are already protected. This will cover the 18,000 same-sex couples who are legally married in California prior to Proposition 8, and those who are legally married from other states. It encourages fairness and diversity in the workplace and ensures a level playing field from one business to another. If public tax dollars are going to be spent by state agencies, they should be spent in ways that do not encourage workplace discrimination. It is sponsored by Equality California, and it's supported by the California Nurses Association, the Commission on the Status of Women, Gray Panthers, California Employment Lawyers, and the Labor Federation. There is no opposition. I ask for your aye vote.
Is there any opposition or debate? Seeing or hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Alquist. Aye. Anderson. No. Berryhill. No. Blakesley. No. Calderon. Canella. No. Corbett. Aye. Correa. De Leon. Aye. DeSaulnier. Aye. Dutton. No. Emerson. No. Evans. Aye. Fuller.
No.
No. Gaines. No. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. No. Hernandez. Aye. Huff. No. Kehoe. Aye. LaMalfa. No. Leno. Aye. Ted Lieu. Aye. Carolou. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Price. Aye. Rubio. Runner. No. Smidian. Steinberg. Aye. Strickland. No. Vargas. Aye. Walters. No. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Wyland. No. Yee. Yee, aye. Smidian, aye.
Call the absent members.
Calderon. Correa. Negrete McLeod. Rubio.
Ayes 21, noes 15, measure passes. Item 45, Senator Evans. Please, Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 369 by Senator Evans, enacting to commercial fishing.
Thank you, Madam President. This bill relates to California's commercial Dungeness crab fishery, and all it does is extend through 2015 existing laws regulating the fisheries through annual permits. It's been a successful and self-funding program, and I would ask for an aye vote.
Any debate? Opposition? Seeing or hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Alquist. Aye. Anderson. Berryhill. Blakesley. Calderon. Canella. No. Corbett. Aye. Correa. De Leon. DeSaulnier. Aye. Dutton. Emerson. No. Evans. Aye. Fuller.
No.
No. Gaines. No. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. No. Hernandez. Aye. Huff. No. Kehoe. Aye. LaMalfa. No. Leno. Aye. Tedlew. Aye. Carolou. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Price. Aye. Rubio. Runner. No. Smidian. Steinberg. Aye. Strickland. No. Vargas. Aye. Walters. No. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Wyland. No. Yee. Yee, aye.
Call the absent members.
Anderson. No. Berryhill. No. Blakesley. No. Calderon. Correa. De Leon. Dutton. No. Negrete McLeod. Rubio. Smidian. Smidian, aye.
Senator Evans moves the call. Members, we will be moving in file order now from item 49. Senator McLeod is not at her desk. Will pass. Item 50, Senator Corbett. And Secretary, read the roll.
Senate Bill 622 by Senator Corbett, an act relating to sex offenders.
Thank you very much, Madam President and members. Senate Bill 622 clarifies that an out-of-state sex offender is required by state law to register with the California Department of Justice when they move to California. The Department of Justice has terminated between 80 and 90 sex offender registrations in California since a ruling last year in the 3rd District Court of Appeal, and estimates that another 100 sex offenders will avoid registration if this bill is not enacted. There's need for a technical clarification of the law in order to allow the Department of Justice to consider adjudicated or stipulated hearsay facts of out-of-state sex offender cases. Senate Bill 622 allows the Department of Justice to resume its practice of reviewing these out-of-state convictions in order to determine whether they are required to register in California. I respectfully ask for your aye vote on this measure.
Members, any debate or discussion? Seeing or hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Alquist. Aye. Anderson. Aye. Berryhill. Aye. Blakesley. Calderon. Canella. Aye. Corbett. Aye. Correa. De Leon. DeSaulnier. Aye. Dutton. Aye. Emerson. Aye. Evans. Aye. Fuller.
Aye.
Aye. Gaines. Aye. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Aye. Hernandez. Aye. Huff. Aye. Kehoe. LaMalfa. Aye. Leno. Aye. Tedlew. Aye. Carolou. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Price. Aye. Rubio. Aye. Runner. Aye. Smidian. Steinberg. Aye. Strickland. Aye. Vargas. Aye. Walters. Aye. Wolk. Aye. Wright. I. Wyland. I. Yee. Yee, aye. Kehoe, aye. Smitty, aye.
Secretary, I call the absent members.
Blakesley, aye. Calderon, Correa, De Leon, Negrete McLeod.
Ayes 36, no 0. Measure passes. Members, we will move to item 51. Senator Evans will be passing. Item 52. Senator Corbett will be passing. Item 53. Senator De Leon is not at his desk. Item 54. Senator Rubio will be passing. Item 55 pass as well. Item 56, Senator Kehoe. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 328 by Senator Kehoe, enacting to eminent domain.
Madam President, I'm sorry, I have to pass on file on that one. I'll take up the next one, the next item, my items.
Okay, we will move on to item 57. Senator Emerson. Please read. Secretary will read.
Senate Bill 363 by Senator Emerson, an act relating to marriage and family therapists.
Thank you, Madam President and members. Senate Bill 363 clarifies supervision and experience requirements for Californians seeking licensure as a marriage and family therapist. Under this bill, MFT trainees would be allowed to continue counseling clients while not enrolled in a practicum if the lapse in enrollment is less than 90 days, and if the period is preceded and followed by enrollment in a practicum course. This will address any continuity of care issues and provide trainees with adequate time to gain direct client hours. Secondly, the number of client-centered advocacy hours for an MFT intern would be limited to 500 hours. This would ensure that MFT interns' experience hours are gauged through a variety of training activities. SB 363 would also allow licensed professional clinical counselors to supervise MFT interns if they meet additional training and education requirements to treat couples and families. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Members, any debate or discussion? Seeing or hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Alquist, aye. Anderson, aye. Berryhill, aye. Blakesley, aye. Calderon, Canella, aye. Corbett, Correa, De Leon, aye. DeSaulnier, aye. Dutton, Emerson, aye. Evans, aye. Fuller,
Aye.
Aye. Gaines, aye. Hancock, Harmon, aye. Hernandez, aye. Huff, aye. Kehoe, aye. LaMalfa, aye. Leno, aye. Tedlew, aye. Carolou, aye. Lowenthal, aye. Negrete McLeod, Padilla, aye. Pavley, Price, aye. Rubio, aye. Runner, aye. Semidian, aye. Steinberg, aye. Strickland, aye. Vargas, aye. Walters, aye. Wolk, aye. Wright, aye. Wyland, aye. Yee. Yee, aye. Corbett, aye.
Senator, I'm sorry, go ahead. Senator Emerson moves the call. And we will move to item 58. And we will pass. Item 59, Senator Pavley. We will pass. Item 60, DeSaulnier. We will pass. Item 61, Senator Yee. Read the bill.
Senate Bill 602 by Senator Yee, enacting to privacy.
Thank you very much, Madam President and Senators. This is a bill that will prohibit booksellers from knowingly sharing personal information of a consumer with any government entity or being compelled to share that information without a search warrant, court order, and with a reader's consent. This is really just simply protecting and the privacy of all individuals, and with that, urge an aye vote.
Any debate or discussion? Seeing or hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Alquist. Aye. Anderson. Aye. Berryhill. Aye. Blakeslee. Aye. Calderon. Canella. Aye. Corbett. Aye. Correa. De Leon. Aye. DeSaulnier. Aye. Dutton. Aye. Emerson. Aye. Evans. Aye. Fuller.
Aye.
Aye. Gaines. Aye. Hancock. Harmon. Aye. Hernandez. Aye. Huff. Aye. Kehoe. Aye. LaMalfa. Aye. Leno. Aye. Ted Lieu. Aye. Carolou. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Price. Rubio. Aye. Runner. Aye. Smidian. Aye. Steinberg. Aye. Strickland. Aye. Vargas. Aye. Walters. Aye. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Wyland. Aye. Yee. Yee aye. Correa aye. Hancock aye.
Senator Yee moves the call. Item 62. Senator Lowenthal. Pass. Item 63. Senator Negrete McLeod. Not at her desk. Pass. Item 64. Not at her desk. Pass. Item 65. Senator Kehoe. Not at her desk. Pass. Item 66. Pass. Item 67. Lieu. Pass. Item 68. Senator Lowenthal. Secretary, please read.
Senate Concurrent Resolution 6 by Senator Lowenthal relative to affordable in-home internet service.
Thank you, Madam President and members. Excuse me. Having access to the internet has quickly become a key, I would say has quickly become the most important key now to economic success in the United States. For many low-income families, however, the cost of access can be prohibitive. This resolution encourages all state and local affordable housing lenders to promote free internet access to the residents of affordable housing. The costs are small, the benefits are huge. By providing easy access to the internet for low-income families, we can make affordable housing even more of a ladder to success than it already is. The Tax Credit Allocation Committee, the TCAC, already promotes internet access for affordable housing. This really just continues that encouragement to lenders. This is a very good bill, and probably more than we can do than to help people, not just to give them something, but to help them so that they themselves can help themselves by having access to the internet. I strongly urge your aye vote.
Any debate or discussion? Seeing or hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Alquist. Aye. Anderson. No. Berryhill. No. Blakeslee. No. Calderon. Canella. No. Corbett. Aye. Correa. Aye. De Leon. DeSaulnier. Aye. Dutton. No. Emerson. No. Evans. Aye. Fuller.
No.
No. Gaines. No. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. No. Hernandez. Aye. Huff. No. Kehoe. Aye. LaMalfa. No. Leno? Aye. Ted Lieu? Aye. Carol Lieu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Rubio? Aye. Runner? No. Smidian? Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? No. Vargas? Aye. Walters? No. Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? No. Yee? Yee, aye.
Senator Lowenthal moves the bill to call. Because we'll be taking up in a bit. The Latino Spirit, Senator Lowenthal, the Latino Spirit Awards are taking place now. Okay, we are moving to item number 69. Lieu. Pass. Item 70. Senator Kehoe. Item number 70. Secretary, please read.
Senate Joint Resolution 6 by Senator Kehoe relative to survivors of torture.
Thank you, Madam President and members. This SJR 6 declares June 26, 2011 as a day in support of victims of torture in California and urges the Federal Office of Refugee Resettlement to account for California's leading role as a resettlement destination for torture survivors in distributing treatment resources. That is federal funding. California, members, as you may already know, is the top resettlement destination for refugees from around the world. Many have fled from incidents of torture in their home countries. Based on the federal government regarding refugee flows here, about 100,000 torture survivors live in California today. Most people are unaware of the large presence of torture survivors in California, and they don't realize we have a number of outstanding organizations that have played a leading role in developing treatment for torture survivors. California is home to 8 centers that specialize in working with survivors of torture. This is an important step in the recovery of these refugees from around the world. This reso is sponsored by Survivors of Torture International, which is headquartered in my district in San Diego. It's supported by advocacy groups and treatment centers. The resolution has bipartisan support. Co-authors from both houses, I ask for your aye vote.
Secretary, call the roll. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Any member, any debate or discussion? Seeing or hearing none. Secretary, please call the roll.
Alquist? Aye. Anderson? Aye. Berryhill? Aye. Blakesley? Aye. Calderon? Canella? Aye. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Aye. De Leon? Gisonier? Aye. Dutton? Aye. Emerson? Aye. Evans? Aye. Fuller?
Aye.
Aye. Gaines? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Harmon? Aye. Hernandez? Aye. Huff? Aye. Kehoe? Aye. LaMalfa? Aye. Leno? Aye. Ted Lieu? Aye. Carol Lieu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Rubio? Aye. Runner? Aye. Smidian? Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? Aye. Vargas? Aye. Walters? Aye. Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? Aye. Yee? Yee, aye.
Senator Kehoe moves the call. And would you like to return to 65, item 65 at this time?
Thank you, Madam President.
Secretary, please read item 65. Members will be moving a little bit backwards. Oh, not eligible. Okay, so we will be moving on to item 71. The last bill is on call, Senator Kehoe, and we'll come back to you. Okay, Evans Pass. 72. Item 72. Pass. Item 73. Senator Kehoe, would you like to present that bill? Secretary, please call the roll.
Senate Bill 855 by Senator Kehoe, enacting to racetracks.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, this bill has to do with extending the sunset on the State Racetrack Leasing Commission from January 1st, 2013 for 5 years until January 1st, 2018. This commission is unique to my district and the racetrack operations at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. The fair and the racetrack are overseen by the 22nd Ag District. The commission consists of 6 members comprising the Secretary of Food and Ag, the Director of Finance, and the Director of General Services, all 3 individuals appointed by the governor and who are members of the Board of Directors of the 22nd Ag District. It has had no opposition, passed both policy and fiscal committees unanimously. I ask for your aye vote.
Members, any debate or discussion? Seeing or hearing none, Secretary, please call the roll.
Alquist? Aye. Anderson? Aye. Berryhill? Aye. Blakesley? Aye. Calderon? Canella? Aye. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Aye. De Leon? DeSaulnier? Aye. Dutton? Aye. Emerson? Aye. Evans? Aye. Fuller?
Aye.
Aye. Gaines? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Harmon? Aye. Hernandez? Aye. Huff? Aye. Kehoe? Aye. LaMalfa? Aye. Leno? Aye. Ted Lieu? Aye. Carolou? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Rubio? Aye. Runner? Aye. Smidian? Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? Aye. Vargas? Aye. Walters? Aye. Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? Aye. Yee? Yee aye. Smidian aye.
Senator Kehoe moves the call. Item 74, pass. Item 75, Senator DeSaulnier, please read the bill.
Senate Bill 448 by Senator DeSaulnier, enacting to voting.
Members, this year is the 100th anniversary of Hiram Johnson starting the initiative system in California. It's largely served this state well. However, poll after poll would suggest that as much as Californians still love the initiative system and our experience with direct democracy, is that they're also aware that it's more complicated than it needs to be, and it's hard for average Californians to follow what is presented to them every election day. So this bill helps with that. It gives a little transparency. When you come out of the supermarket, you'll be able to see that somebody who asks for your signature is either paid to do that or as a volunteer, and then you'll also be able to see whether they're a registered voter or not and where they are registered. This bill is supported by the Secretary of State, and I would ask for your aye vote.
Members, any debate or discussion? Seeing or hearing none, Secretary, please call the roll.
Alquist? Aye. Anderson? No. Berryhill? No. Blakesley? No. Calderon? Canella? No. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Aye. De Leon? DeSaulnier? Aye. Dutton? No. Emerson? No. Evans? Aye. Fuller?
No.
No. Gaines? No. Hancock? Aye. Harmon? No. Hernandez? Aye. Huff? Huff? No. Kehoe? Aye. LaMalfa? No. Leno? Aye. Ted Lieu? Aye. Carolou? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Rubio? Runner? No. Smidian? Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? No. Vargas? Aye. Walters? No. Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? No. Yee? Yee, aye.
Senator DeSaulnier moves the call. Actually, do we want to do that? Yeah, okay. Okay. He wants to move the call. Okay. Item 76, Senator Wright. Please read the bill.
Senate Bill 422 by Senator Wright, enacting to health reporting.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, this is a non-controversial bill. What it does essentially is it says that healthcare officials and physicians who provide information about HIV are not subject to the same civil and criminal penalties that there were. This bill has gone through policy committee. It currently has no opposition. And the idea, members, is that what we want to try to do is in some cases prevent AIDS cases before they get started. So this doesn't provide, you're not going to publish the information, but what it says is that a healthcare officer would go back to the county and contact that person and try to prevent other folks from getting the disease. It is brought to me by the people who actually treat AIDS and supported by many of the people in the counties who are responsible for preventing epidemics. Again, there was opposition initially concerned about privacy. This only applies to physicians and county health officers, so it would not be a public disclosure of anyone's private information. As well, the information would have to be done with the consent of the patient who is the subject of the investigation. I'd ask for an aye vote.
Members, any debate or discussion? Seeing or hearing none, Secretary, please call the roll.
Alquist? Aye. Anderson? Aye. Berryhill? Aye. Blakesley? Aye. Calderon? Canella? Aye. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Aye. De Leon? DeSaulnier? Aye. Dutton? Aye. Emerson? Aye. Evans? Aye. Fuller?
Aye.
Aye. Gaines? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Harmon? Aye. Hernandez? Aye. Huff? Aye. Kehoe? LaMalfa? Aye. Leno? Aye. Ted Lieu? Aye. Carol Lieu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Rubio? Runner? Aye. Samidian? Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? Aye. Vargas? Aye. Walters? Aye. Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? Aye. Yee? Yee, aye.
Senator Wright, move the call.
Kehoe, aye.
Okay, item number 77, pass. Item number 78, pass. Item number 79, Senator Wolk, pass. Item number 80, pass. So I think we will be returning to the beginning of the file. Start with, I believe, Senator Price. Item 35 is ready. The very. Okay. Excuse me. Senator Lieu is ready with item number.
No, Madam President. I just wanted to, under motions and resolutions.
Okay, turning to motions and resolutions.
I'd like to remove from file item 128, SB 257 from the special consent calendar.
Without objection, Joint Rule 62A will be suspended to allow the Rules Committee to hear a governor's appointment on Wednesday, May 11, 2011, without 4 days' notice in the daily file. Thank you. Returning to the daily file. any member want to take up an item? I see Senator Price has his microphone up, and you would want to return to
item 35.
Item 35. Members, return to item 35. Secretary, please read the bill.
Senate Bill 596 by Senator Price, an act relating to insurance.
Madam President, members, Senate Bill 596 aims to streamline several consumer notices, thereby reducing consumer confusion, providing easier access to relevant information. Each year, the insurance industry sends out tens of millions, of disclosures in the form of paper. And some of these disclosures relate to the very same issue, but are currently required to be sent out in 2 separate mailings. SB 596 will ensure this process is more efficient while maintaining important consumer disclosures. The measure passed unanimously out of the Insurance Committee, and today I ask for your aye vote.
Secretary, please call the roll.
Alquist. Aye. Anderson. Aye. Berryhill. Aye. Blakesley. Aye. Calderon. Canella. Aye. Corbett. Aye. Correa. Aye. De Leon. Aye. DeSaulnier. Aye. Dutton. Aye. Emerson. Aye. Evans. Aye. Fuller.
Aye.
Aye. Gaines. Aye. Hancock. Harmon. Aye. Hernandez. Aye. Huff. Aye. Kehoe. Aye. LaMalfa. Aye. Leno. Aye. Tedlew. Aye. Carolou. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Price. Aye. Rubio. Aye. Runner. Aye. Semidian. Steinberg. Aye. Strickland. Aye. Vargas. Aye. Walters. Aye. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Wyland. Aye. Yee. Yee, aye.
Okay, Senator moves the call. And any other senators who would wish to take up their bill? I believe Senator Correa, item 25. Secretary will read the bill.
Senate Bill 199 by Senator Correa, an act relating to vote by mail ballots.
Thank you, Madam President and Senators. Senate Bill 189 seeks to further assure that every legally cast ballot is counted in the state of California. This bill essentially provides that as long as you return your absentee ballot by 8 p.m. on Election Day to a polling place located in the state of California will be counted. I ask for an aye vote.
Senator LaMalfa.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise in respectful opposition to this bill. Again, the burden upon county offices, elections offices around the state is already very high with the increase of absentee ballots and provisional ballots and many other aspects to the elections process that have become more difficult, and we see that in the results taking much longer to get for elections here. And then there's a responsibility issue here that people should be able to pay enough attention to get their ballot either mailed in time or dropped off locally at the proper elections office or precinct. To be able to drop it anywhere in the state on Election Day really fosters an atmosphere of irresponsibility. So this isn't about making sure every vote counts. There does have to be some responsibility here. So placing more burden on the counting of the votes, the getting them processed, is not going to help have better or more accurate elections. Self-responsibility does need to be an important part of something so important as our election process. I ask your no vote.
Any other debate or discussion? Seeing or hearing none, Secretary will call the roll. Oh, I'm sorry. Would you like to close?
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to say that I share with Senator LaMalfa's concerns about the burdens we put on the local registrars, and This bill is designed to minimize those burdens, and number two, to minimize the costs to local registrars. We have to balance that against our goal of making sure that every legally cast ballot, every vote by an American citizen is voted. And this is a minimal change in terms of cost and burden to make sure that those working men and women that happen to be outside their county on Tuesday, that election day, have the opportunity to drop off that ballot on the neighboring county, so to speak, and then have it forwarded to the county where that ballot should be cast and have it counted. Very straightforward bill to assure every American is assured the opportunity to have their vote considered when it comes to an election. I ask for an aye vote.
Secretary, call the roll.
Alquist? Aye. Anderson? No. Berryhill? No. Blakesley? Aye. Calderon? Aye. Canella? No. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Aye. De Leon? Aye. DeSaulnier? Aye. Dutton? No. Emerson? No. Evans? Aye. Fuller?
No.
No. Gaines? No. Hancock? Harmon? Harmon? Hernandez? Aye. Huff? Kehoe? Aye. LaMalfa? No. Leno? Aye. Ted Lieu? Aye. Carol Lieu? Aye. Lowenthal? Negrete Lowenthal? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Rubio? Aye. Runner? No. Semidian? Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? No. Vargas? Aye. Walters? No. Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? No. Yee? Yee, aye. Harmon, no.
Senator moves the call. Moving back to Senator Wright, did you have something else? For what purpose do you rise?
Present file item 37, Madam President.
Okay. File item 37, Secretary Reed.
Senate Bill 475 by Senator Wright, enacting to infrastructure financing.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, California has 4 cities in the top 10 in need of infrastructure repair. Los Angeles, San Francisco, San Jose, and Palm Springs are in the top 10 nationally for repair. We've got bridges in many instances in California. In fact, 4 in 10 of our bridges are about to collapse, particularly those that are operated by local governments. SB 475 would provide an option, not a mandate, but it would provide an option for local governments to use private financing to pay for those infrastructure needs that they have. It clarifies language that was already in law, and what it says is that the local government would have the option and not a mandate. There's been argument that, well, it could cost more money. In fact, it could. And if the local government has a better way to achieve that financing, then they should take that. But I don't think any of us would feel good if we created a situation like we saw in Minnesota a couple of years ago, where a bridge collapsed and a number of people died, and the reason that they hadn't done the repair is because they simply said, we don't have the money yet. We've got bridges in California that when the termites stop holding hands, they're going to collapse. This is an effort, members, to provide local governments with an option, not a mandate, to get that funding done, to provide capital that will come, in fact, from private sources. It only applies to local governments, and it gives them the option of using private funds to do the development. It's supported by labor groups who would do the work because it doesn't change any of the prevailing wage rules and all the other things that go with that. It's supported by water agencies because many of these projects, members, would in fact be levees and other things that convey water. I would ask for an aye vote on this very common sense measure to provide private funding in an alternative sense at the option of local governments.
Members, any debate or discussion? Seeing or hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Alquist. Anderson. I. Berryhill. I. Blakesley. I. Calderon. I. Canella. I. Corbett. Correa. I. De Leon. DeSaulnier. No. Dutton. I. Emerson. I. Evans. Fuller.
Aye.
I. Gaines. I. Hancock. No. Harmon. I. Hernandez. Huff. I. Kehoe. I. LaMalfa. Leno. No. Tedlew. I. Carolou. I. Lowenthal. Negrete McLeod. Padilla. Pavley. Price. Rubio. I. Runner. I. Semidian. Steinberg. Strickland. I. Vargas. I. Walters. I. Wolk. I. Wright. I. Wyland. I. Yee. Yee, no. Padilla, I. Okay, 1 second. Steinberg, I.
Senator Wright, would you like to move the call?
Correa. Correa we have as I.
There are
LaMalfa, I.
$26 ayes, noes 4. Thank you. Measure passes. Members, are there any others who would like to take up their bills? Okay. We had Senator De Leon will be taking up item 32. Secretary will read.
Senate Bill 798 by Senator De Leon, an act linked to firearms.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, SB 798 was introduced at the request of Los Angeles Police Chief Charlie Beck. This bill seeks to protect Californians, especially law enforcement officers, from the dangers caused by BB guns. Every day, the men and women who serve us as law enforcement officers must make a split-second decision to determine if it is appropriate to use deadly force to protect our communities. This quick and life-changing decision is made even more difficult, given that these fake guns look exactly like real guns, real firearms. SB 798 will require BB guns to adhere to the same laws and regulations set forth by imitation firearms. BB guns will be required to be brightly colored to avoid mistaking them for real firearms, which will help to protect the lives of law enforcement officers who work tirelessly to keep our communities safe. This is a measure sponsored and supported by Los Angeles County Sheriff Leroy Baca, Women Against Gun Violence, as well as, again, to reiterate, the Chief of Police of Los Angeles. Members, I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Senator Gaines.
Thank you, Madam President. And I regretfully stand in opposition to this legislation. I have deep respect for Senator De Leon, but having been an owner of a Red Ryder BB gun when I was a kid, and something that I cherished and really enjoyed and have purchased for my own children, I just feel that this is going too far. And that, in fact, when it comes to a BB gun, it seems to me that that's something that can be monitored by parents and that we don't have to be intervening at the state level in terms of dictating what the color of a gun should, in fact, look like. I was recently at an NRA dinner that was auctioning off a BB gun that I actually bid on, but the price went a little high. But it was basically a classic commemorative model that you could hang up on a wall. And I'm hoping that at some point in the near future I'll be successful in my bidding and actually get to buy one that I could hang on my wall. But clearly I think this is over the top. We've got to draw the line somewhere in terms of gun rights, and we can start with BB guns. Thank you.
Madam President, if I could just, add
Yes.
to what Mr. Gaines just mentioned with regards to the firearm, the antique BB replica firearm that he wanted to place the auction, a request to try to win this firearm at this NRA event. My language would actually exempt that specific antique imitation replica that's a BB gun, so that would be exempted. I just wanted to state that for the fact.
Thank you. Any other debate or discussion? Would you like to close, Senator DeLeon?
Thank you, Madam President. Again, colleagues, I would just emphasize and underscore that this is a measure with regards to safety. First and foremost, the safety of our children, as well as the men and women who put their lives on the line every day to protect us. We've had many instances throughout the state of California where law enforcement officers have mistakenly have been confused and have mistaken a child, a teenager, from brandishing what they consider to be a real firearm, when in fact, after the investigation, it was a BB gun. This happened in Modesto, California, where Elias Ritas was killed by the police. It happened just in 2011, April 13. It happened in Riverside County in Ribido in 2010 to Freddy Jimenez Campos, who brandished a BB gun and was shot by 3 rounds by a sheriff. It happened in San Diego just recently, April 23rd, 2011. Robert McBride, I should say. San Diego Police Department encountered the young man. It was late at night. He brandished a firearm. When he pointed at the police officers, they shot him as well. It was a BB gun. It happened in Redding, California, as well as in 2008 in Los Angeles, California, during a traffic stop. 52-year-old woman had a fake toy gun in her car. Accidentally, she picked that up, allegedly, through the report, and the CHP officer actually shot and killed her. And just recently in Los Angeles, just right before Christmas, in my district, a 13-year-old boy playing with 2 other colleagues, 2 other boys, 14-year-old, at dusk, around 7:10 p.m. at night. LAPD was called in to investigate 3 young men running around the neighborhood with guns. And what happened was he was shot by the police. He is paralyzed from the chest down. So with that, it is my closing statement, Madam President. I want to underscore that. So I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Senator Anderson, for what purpose do you rise?
I rise a point of personal privilege. I'd like to ask the author a question.
Please.
Question of the author.
Okay. Okay, the author is not taking questions.
All right. Well, if he were taking questions, my question would have been, does this cover
Senator
wooden
Anderson
guns?
has the floor. Your question was?
Well, if the concern is over the shape of the weapon or the presumed weapon, you know, I have a son who, when he was younger, before he ever even owned a gun, would pick up sticks and pretend with sticks. And under the correct lighting at dusk,
Is this Senator Anderson?
My wife would get confused. And my question was whether this would actually go after sticks too.
Senator DeLeon.
Well, Madam President, obviously I'm not going to answer that question, but listen, Mr. Anderson knows very well I'll answer any question he has in public, out of the public site, in any form, way, or shape. What I don't appreciate is once you give a closing statement, because I think, Madam President, you gave the members of this floor an opportunity to raise questions or give commentary. Yes. But once a closing statement has been made, and then to lift up the mic, I think is a little out of bounds, in my opinion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Secretary, please call the roll.
Alquist. Aye. Anderson. No. Berryhill. No. Blakesley. No. Calderon. Aye. Canella. No. Corbett. Aye. Correa. No. De Leon. Aye. DeSaulnier. Aye. Dutton. No. Emerson. No. Evans. Aye. Fuller.
No.
No. Gaines. No. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. No. Hernandez. Aye. Huff. No. Kehoe. Aye. Lamalfa. No. Leno. Aye. Tedlew. Aye. Carolou. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Price. Aye. Rubio. Runner. No. Semidian. Aye. Steinberg. Aye. Strickland. No. Vargas. Aye. Walters. No. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Wyland. No. Yee. Yee, aye. Madam.
Ayes 21, noes 16. The measure has passed. Senator Semidian.
Thank you, Madam President and members. On a point of parliamentary privilege, if I may proceed briefly.
Yes.
Thank you. Madam President, it occurred to me as I watched the exchange that just went on, we have been a little vague on the floor of the Senate about the ability of members to speak after a formal close. I think it might be helpful if we ask the Secretary of the Senate to provide us with clear parliamentary direction on that matter, report back to us on that, and then all of the members will know, as well as the presiding officers, myself included, what the rules of the House are, and that will provide us all greater clarity subsequently. I think that would be helpful to us all.
So noted. We please proceed with that order. Senator Calderon, I believe you had your mic up next.
For the purpose of announcement.
Proceed.
On a lighter side, I would like to welcome back from Boston College, Berklee College of Music in Boston, my son, Zach Calderon.
Welcome. Senator Corbett, for what purpose do you rise?
I have some bills on third reading I'd like to do. Item 52.
Item 52. We will return to item 52. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 168 by Senator Corbett, an act relating to petitions.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Senate Bill 168 would prohibit payments to signature gatherers of petitions on a per-signature basis in order to reduce the incentive to mislead the voting public and collect fraudulent signatures. It does not prohibit payment by salary or hourly wage. The intent of this bill is not to restrict a voter's ability to place initiatives on a ballot or to prohibit compensation for signature gathering, rather to eliminate the perverse incentive that encourages collecting and submitting fraudulent signatures. Senate Bill 168 simply ensures the initiative process remains a valued tool for California voters. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Senator LaMalfa.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I again must respectfully rise in opposition to this bill that brings into the situation. It doesn't understand the marketplace, that when people are incentivized on a per-piece basis, they work harder. And so with this measure here, it's actually taken away from our democracy process of making it more difficult to incentivize people to gather signatures. There's nothing wrong with the process as long as there's accountability for those that are turning in the signatures and verifying them. So it's really not a problem to have it on a per-piece basis. I think it's more about dampening the effect of the initiative process in California, legislation like this. And so this being the 100th year anniversary of the initiative in California, I think we need to make it be as free and open as possible, and this indeed does put a damper on that.
Thank you. Senator Wyland.
Thank you, Madam President, members. This is the second of these bills we've seen today, and I certainly respect the author and also Senator DeSaulnier, but let's cut to the chase. What this does is empower one group of special interests. One group who at the drop of a hat can get signatures virtually or among those groups. There happen to be certain associations, we all know who we're talking about, can get all the signatures they want. Now, some might say they get them through a voluntary approach. Others might say they get them through pressure, but they get them. What this disenfranchises are those who do not have either the money, as a special interest might have, or the time. So I would suggest, if we take these measures, why don't we consider another measure which would allow, instead of 180 days, let's say 18 months. Now that would really democratize the process. Then the average person, the average group who believe in these things could get the signatures. I wonder, and this might be worth taking this bill up. I've considered it many times, except I pretty much know what its fate would be. If such a bill were presented, since this is still in support of the citizens' right to petition, I think we should do that. What this is, in fact, disenfranchises those true volunteers who have no other way of getting these signatures. I urge a no vote.
Any other discussion? Senator Anderson?
I rise in opposition to this bill because I'm not sure that everybody in this room has gone through the initiative process and understands how it works. You know, when you pay somebody per hour, there's no real leverage that you have over them from turning in illegal signatures or legal signatures. Currently, under the practice that's being used right now, at least every initiative I've ever been involved with, is we only pay for legal signatures, and we check those signatures before we pay the collector. That means that there's absolutely no reason for them to chase people down to collect illegal signatures, since they won't get paid for that work and for that effort. So I think that we're doing just the opposite with this bill. Instead of empowering people, we're now incentivizing them to collect illegal signatures. I urge a no vote.
Senator Leno.
Thank you, Madam President. I appreciate that we can have differences of opinion on this, but the oppositional arguments are more than just a little tortured. The requirement for signatures to be legal does not change with this bill. And hardly by disenfranchising volunteers, the status quo benefits the deepest pockets among us. Hiram Johnson never imagined that signatures would go for $4, $5, $6 each. The idea was that these would be citizen initiatives driven by volunteers. We had a bill a few minutes ago that would have simply identified you as a paid signature gathering or a volunteer. So someone thinking of signing could have an idea, but that was opposed. So this very much democratizes and removes the extraordinary benefit that those with the most funding can, with a certain amount of millions of dollars, get virtually anything onto our state ballot. And we've seen that happen time and time again. And if you look at the reported abuses in signature gatherings, it's exactly in the situation when the cost per signature continues to escalate. And I would agree with the one oppositional argument that we should extend the time for gathering signatures. In Mark DeSaulnier's committee hearings last year, we did hear and review other proposals and best practices from other states. When there is a longer period of gathering signatures, more people, more advocacy groups have the opportunity to do so. With the truncated amount of time, which this bill is not about, and with the premium for each individual signature, that's where the abuse occurs. So I would ask for an aye vote.
Senator Correa.
Question to the author. Senator Corbett, can you still pay somebody hourly basis, weekly basis, salary basis for gathering signature, or does your bill completely ban the payment of signature gathering?
No, the language of the bill is very clear. You can continue to pay people for providing this service. You just won't be able to pay them on a per signature basis. The Secretary of State supports this measure because, unfortunately, there is evidence of fraud using the process by paid per signature.
On my own, I'd just like to say that these are some of the challenges we've had in Orange County in terms of registering folks on a per item basis or gathering signatures, paying them a per item basis. I ask for an aye vote on this matter.
Senator Harman.
I had a question to the author, but has she closed yet? I wasn't sure.
No, she has not.
Oh.
I'd like to.
Hey, may I ask a question of the author?
Yes, you may proceed with your question.
Question of the author?
Of course.
Thank you. The bill's based on the number. You can't pay per signature. Could you pay per page? Aren't there typically, a follow-up question, aren't there typically multiple signatures on one of these initiatives?
The bill specifically speaks to the per signature, payment per signature.
So you can pay per page?
The bill doesn't reference that at all.
Okay, so only prohibits paying per signature.
Per signature.
Thank you.
Senator Dutton.
Yeah, I also have a question of the author. It's my understanding that this is actually may have some constitutional issues. Have you addressed that?
There are no constitutional issues to my knowledge.
I understand that in previous cases that this was considered to be an infringement on an expression, whether you're paid or not. I understand that the U.S. Constitution is actually, there's been some cases about this. I'm just curious because if that would be the case here, then obviously we would have to incur the cost, with the Attorney General's office to end up defending it. And I'm just curious. That's the reason I was wondering if you've actually checked that out.
Yes, of course I checked that out. There's no case law in California that says that this is unconstitutional, and I doubt our Secretary of State would be supporting the measure if she thought that it was.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Senator Blakesley.
Thank you, Madam President Pro Tem. Members, I'll just speak very briefly. I am a little concerned about the concept that the right way to solve an issue like this is to prohibit a model where someone is paid for their successful performance of their duties. We see oftentimes in real estate, people earn a commission. They don't simply punch a clock and receive an hourly rate. They are paid based on their successful outcomes. And if commissions are wrong or payment for performance outcomes is wrong, I wonder how many people in this body have ever hired a fundraiser and paid them based on their performance with a certain percentage. So if we do have laws that stop misconduct, but to ban this form of payment when it's so common not only in our economy, but in fact for those who work in this chamber, I'd suggest would be a mistake. I urge a no vote.
Senator Wright.
I rise in support, but I think as we look at initiatives, we're going to have to go further. The author and commentator, the late David Broder, wrote a book about California called Democracy Derailed. And in the book, what he cited was, we have one of the goofiest initiative processes in the country. What started off, as Senator Leno mentioned, was a process by then Governor Hiram Johnson to provide an open democracy, has turned into something that Senator or Governor Johnson or anyone else could have ever imagined. The last week's edition of The Economist makes great reference to our initiative process. And literally what we have, members, and we shouldn't have this illusion, moneyed interest, wherever they may come from, whether you be the left or the right, whether you be Republican or Democrat, it's an opportunity for moneyed interest to game the system. Most of the time when people are voting on initiatives, they don't know what they are. Sometimes a yes vote can mean no, and a no vote can mean yes. Sometimes you think that you're voting on one thing and the ball is hidden, just as oftentimes is the case with legislation that we get, where you don't sometimes know what's in it. And so we're more and more asking people. I think in the current pipeline, there's some 100 initiatives. We've seen a fourfold increase in initiatives in the last 2 years because people have their opportunity to game our legislature. We've granted private industry or a private interest the right to go out and collect money on behalf of the government on 2 or 3 occasions. We should really examine the entire initiative process and not just how you gather the signature. That would be part of it, but I think we should have a way where there's some legislative review. We should have a way where some of those things come back and we look at them. What we're currently doing essentially is we're giving government, we're giving the reins of power to those who have the most money in their pockets to spend. That's not what Hiram Johnson intended. I don't think that's what anyone else intended when they looked at California. And as you look at some of the initiatives that are going forward, more and more you see that they just serve narrow interest. I want to get money from my project. I want to get money from my project. I want redemption for something that happened to my family. More and more you're looking at a very narrow scope for initiatives, and it would be, I guess, in all of our interests one day to look at having the courage, because it would be tough, to make those changes to the Constitution so that we rein some of that in. Because there may soon be an initiative that, and I'm not going to say that, but some of the initiatives are beginning to get closer and closer to home relative to this branch of government and other branches of government. Some of the things that come up on initiatives, when you read them, you go, who could do that? The other thing I'm concerned about, I'm not concerned as much about how much you pay the person, but if you look at the scripts that people are given when they go out and collect the signatures. Sometimes people go into a neighborhood to make a claim that the bill does something that it absolutely can't do, or they make a claim in one neighborhood versus another neighborhood. I've actually followed some of the people who pit neighborhoods against one another. I had one petition gatherer saying that this would stop black people from getting jobs. Then in another neighborhood, the same petition gatherer was saying that it would stop Latino people from getting jobs. Then another one was saying that it would stop gay people from getting, we have really lost our way in this initiative process, and we're basically giving the reins of government over to people who have a lot of money. So I support this today, not that I think that it'll change a great deal, but I think that we're going to have at some point a wholesale review of the initiative process and propose a way of reining in something that has now simply become, as David Broder described it, democracy derailed.
Senator Weiland.
Well, I think Senator Wright's comments are well taken, and I think if we were to review the entire process, that would be worthwhile. This is a really important bill. The previous bill is a really important bill, and it's worthy of us discussing it, and it would really be worthy of us looking into it. If we weren't now in the bill factory, we could actually suspend our legislation, and we could actually look into some of these things. But I'll just make 2 other points in addition to those Senator Wright mentioned. One is that many of those propositions which passed are deeply, deeply felt by the people and could never, ever have gotten out of this legislature, or were attempted to get out of the legislature, but didn't. And that, of course, was the original intention. And secondly, one way to get money out of this process would be to simply expand the time limit. Having familiarity with some of these initiatives or attempted initiatives that would have passed by huge margins, the problem is they run up against 180 days. So we all know what the word is. The word is if you have X million dollars, or if you have enough volunteers, either forced or however you get them, you will get it within 180 days. So one solution to democratize the process is simply to expand the time, a year or a year and a half. Then you would still have a process that people do care about, and you would take money out of it.
Senator Desaulnier.
Just briefly, I think this is really an important and encouraging conversation. To Senator Weiland's point, as Senator Leno said, I think that's the idea of expanding the time frame. It's not since 1982 that a volunteer group and a volunteer effort successfully got signatures on the ballot. So the idea that money is not influencing direct democracy in California, I think we all acknowledge there's a problem. So to Senator Weiland, I think it's a good suggestion. I would be really encouraging if we had more of this discussion on a bipartisan level. Only 24 of the 50 states have an initiative system. We have the most robust initiative system in the country. We're the only state that doesn't allow the legislature to have some kind of review. We used to have the indirect initiative. Some discussion about how the initiative system, as Senator Wright said, whether it's The Economist, David Broder, Peter Schrag, there's been plenty of studies and plenty of academic research to identify the initiative system as currently constituted in California as to be part of our problem. And part of the problem is money. That since 1982, the state of California has grown by almost 16 million people. Trying to pass a statewide initiative requires multiple millions of dollars to get the signatures and then to enter into the media and to get them passed. So clearly we've got a problem. Clearly this is an attempt, along with other bills, to address the problem, not to eliminate the initiative system, but to make it work better in the way that it was originally constituted, to make direct democracy work for real Californians. I support this bill because I think that will get to the problem, but more importantly, I think, is this larger conversation. Senator Dutton's question about the legality. The state of Oregon eliminated paid signatures some years ago, and the U.S. Supreme Court overruled that on a 5-4 vote, being consistent with those same 5 members of the Supreme Court saying that money equates individuals. I personally disagree with that, but these kind of conversations, I think, need to continue. I think this is a good bill, but it needs to go further, and I would ask for your aye vote.
Senator Vargas.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I just wanted to thank my colleagues on the other side for standing up and eloquently stating that the people should have the right to vote, especially on the issues that are deeply felt by the people that haven't passed this legislature. Thank you.
Senator Corbett.
Thank you very much.
Would you like to close?
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, I would. Thank you very much, Madam President, and thank you to all the senators for this great debate this afternoon. Appreciate all your comments, and you know, there's always an opportunity to learn something on this floor, and maybe there are a few things we can do to improve this measure. And I don't think there's any argument as to that the initiative process here in California is one that is extremely important to the people of California. It was one of the greatest reform efforts at the turn of the century by our governor at the time to ensure that the people had their say and they had their opportunity to be part of our California government. That is why I'm so passionate about this measure. We should preserve the initiative process. We should not allow fraud to creep into this extremely important process that allows the people to address government and make changes on their own. So, members, for all of you who are concerned about preserving the process, I would encourage you to vote aye so we can do something about the fraud and we can do something about maintaining this very important initiative process. Please vote aye.
Secretary, please call the roll.
Alquist? Aye. Anderson? No. Berryhill? No. Blakesley? No. Calderon? Canella? No. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Aye. De Leon? Aye. Desaulnier? Aye. Dutton? Emerson? No. Evans? Aye. Fuller?
No.
No. Gaines? No. Hancock? Aye. Harmon? No. Hernandez? Aye. Huff? No. Kehoe? Aye. LaMalfa? No. Leno? Aye. Ted Lieu? Aye. Carol Lieu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Aye. Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Rubio? Aye. Runner? No. Semidian? Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? No. Vargas? Aye. Walters? No. Wolk? Aye. Wright? Wyland? No. Yee? Yee, aye. Correa? So aye to no. Correa we have as aye. Dutton, no. Wright, aye.
Twenty-three ayes, 15 noes. Measure passes. Senator Corbett, you have a bill for reconsideration. Senator Corbett, you have a bill for reconsideration. Item
50.
Item 50.
Request reconsideration on item 50.
Without objection, reconsideration is granted. Ayes 40, noes 0. Secretary, read the bill.
Yes, we did. Members.
Senate Bill 622 by Senator Corbett, an act relating to sex offenders.
Thank you, Madam President. This is item 50 that was heard earlier this morning, passed out of this House on a 36-0 vote. We're asking reconsideration because some members would like to vote on this matter. This is the bill that clarifies that out-of-state sex offenders are required by state law to register with the California Department of Justice. It clarifies the law, and it deals with a case by the 3rd District Court of Appeal, which created a scenario where the Department of Justice had to terminate a number of sex offender registrations in California. This will clarify the law and allow the Department of Justice to continue to deal with sex offender registration as they have in the past. I ask for your aye vote.
Any discussion or debate? Senator Harman.
I'd urge an aye vote. We previously heard this bill this afternoon, but we're going to hear it again. There's no author's question, so I'd move support of the bill.
Any objection to unanimous roll call? Seeing none, ayes 40, noes 0. Members, we're going to go to lifting the calls. Yes. File item 45. Lift the call.
Calderon? Aye. Correa? De Leon? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Aye. Rubio? Rubio, aye. Madam President. No? Madam.
24-16. Measure passes. Item 57. Lift the call.
Calderon? Aye. Correa? Dutton? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Pavley? Correa, aye.
$38 ayes, no 0. Measure passes. Item 61. Lift the call.
Calderon? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Aye. Price? Price, aye. Madam.
Ayes 40, noes 0. Measure passes. Lift the call. On item 68, lift the call.
Calderon. Aye. De Leon. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Madam President.
Ayes 25, noes 15. Measure passes. Item 70, lift the call.
Calderon. Aye. De Leon. Negrete McLeod. Negrete McLeod, aye.
Ayes 39, noes 0. 73, lift the call.
Calderon. Aye. De Leon. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Negrete McLeod, aye.
Ayes 40, noes 0. Item 75, lift the call.
Calderon. Aye. De Leon. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Rubio. Rubio, aye. Aye.
Item 76, ayes 25, noes 15, measure passes. Item 76, lift the call.
Calderon. Aye. De Leon. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Rubio. Rubio, aye. Madam President.
Ayes 30.
Corbett, aye to no. De Leon, aye. Madam.
Ayes 39, noes 1, measure passes. Lift the call. 35.
Calderon. Aye. Hancock. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Smidian. Wright. Wright, aye.
Ayes 38, noes 0, measure passes. Item 25, lift the call.
Hancock. Huff. Hancock, aye. Huff, no. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Madam President.
Ayes 26, noes 14, measure passes. Now we will move to the consent calendar. 102. Please call the roll. No. Oh, please read the bill.
Senate Bill 133, 305, 327, 339, 503, 562, 566, 741, 880, 909.
Consent calendar will be deemed read. Any objection to using an unanimous roll call? Ayes 40, no 0. The consent calendar is passed. Senator Corbett, for what purpose do you rise?
And adjourn in memory.
Please proceed.
Members, I just wanted to make you aware, we're a family here at the Capitol, and I just wanted to make sure that you could keep in your thoughts and prayers Michael Jared of my office. He lost his father, who passed away Friday evening after a very long and very, very courageous battle. Dennis Jared was his name, and he will be truly missed. He is survived by his wife, Barbara, and his son, Dave, and his son, Michael. Thank you, members. Please remember the Jared family.
Recognizing Senator Negrete McLeod next. Senator Negrete McLeod.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I respectfully request to move SB 678 to the inactive file, and also for announcement to announce that after session we will have a PERS committee hearing in room 2040.
We will move. We will have a PERS committee meeting in room 20. What was your room? 2040. And we also have one last introduction. Senator Padilla, do you still wish to return to privileges from the floor? No. Senator Kehoe, for what purpose do you rise?
Committee announcements, Madam President. If Senate Appropriations Committee members could report to 4203 immediately after session, I think we can finish the file in about 30 minutes. Appropriations immediately after session.
Okay, appropriations immediately after session 4203. Senator Simitian, for what purpose do you rise?
For purpose of committee announcement, Madam President.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, the Senate Environmental Quality Committee will convene at 2:30 in room 112, Madam President. It's an effort to coordinate with our colleagues in the Senate Appropriations Committee. Thank you.
2:30 in room 112. Thank you. Senator Steinberg, the desk is clear.
Thank you very much, Madam President. We announced tomorrow at noon a Democratic caucus in the Maddie Lounge. Tuesday, Wednesday will be committee work and check-in session. Thursday morning at 9 o'clock, we will resume floor session. Thank you.
Senator Dutton.
Yeah, I need a brief Republican caucus right now in room 305. Or on adjournment, I'm sorry.
Okay, we will have a Republican caucus. After the Republican caucus, we will then begin our committees. Senate stands in recess.